Hermes, God below the earth, protector of my father's power, become my savior. Fight beside me as I ask you now. For I have come back to this land. I am home once more. And here, upon his burial mound, I call out to my father, hear me, listen. Here is a lock of hair for Aigisthos, where I grew up. And this, a second lock, a token of my grief. For I was not here, Father, to lament your death, nor could I raise my hands in tribute when they carried out your corpse. What do I see? Who are those women all together, clothed in black and coming here? What misfortune can this be? Has some new torment fallen on our house? Or would I be right if I guessed that they have brought libations for my father? Offerings to soothe the dead. It's that and nothing else. I'm sure one of them is my sister, Elektra, marked out by her special grief. Zeus, grant that I avenge my father's death. Become my ally of your own free will. Pylades, let's stand out of the way, so I may clearly learn just why these women have come here to pray.
We have come from the house, sent here to bring libations.
Look at these gashes on my cheek. They're new. But for a long time now, my heart has fed itself on misery.
We've rent the fabric of our clothes in grief. We've torn and crushed the veils around our breasts. These are disasters which bring no one joy.
A piercing cry rang out. It made our hair stand up. At dead of night, the god of dreams roared out his anger from the depths of sleep and fell in fury on the women's room. Then those who judged the meaning of such dreams swore oaths before the gods to tell the truth, and said it meant the dead below the earth were furiously angry, held us all to blame, and raged against their murderers.
Oh, mother, this is no real service to the dead. That godless woman sent me here to ward off torment from herself. And I'm afraid to speak the word she wants.
How can the house be purified once blood's been shed? O hearth of utter misery, ruined house! Sunless, hateful mists of darkness shroud these halls where the true kings are dead.
Their glory once could not be fought or tamed. It found its place in every Argive heart, and now it's gone. We're all afraid, just to survive. For us that is a god, more than a god. But justice holds her scales, and suddenly strikes down those in the light, while other criminals live on. Yet at the twilight of their lives they suffer pain. Unfathomable darkness holds yet more.
The earth our mothers soaked up too much blood. The gore of vengeance clots that cannot be dissolved. The murderer is torn apart. Diseases bloom.
There is no God for anyone who takes a girl's virginity. And just the same,
If every river in the world ran through a single stream, even they could never purify the man whose hand the blood of murder has defiled.
The gods imposed their yoke upon my city. I was led up from my father's house to suffer, fated evermore to be a slave. We must approve of everything they do, just and unjust. We are compelled to overcome our bitter hatred.
So I weep beneath my cloak for the misfortunes of the rightful king. My hidden grief has chilled my heart.
Slave women, keepers of the house, since you are here as my attendants for this ceremony, please advise me now. What shall I say as I pour these libations at his grave? How can I please him? What should I ask of my father? Am I to tell him that I bring these offerings from a loving wife to her beloved husband when the gift is from my mother? I dare not lie like that. I don't know what to say as I present this offering at my father's tomb. Should I use the old form of words that starts, "To those who've sent these garlands, grant their just rewards"? In this case, that would mean a payment worthy of their evil deeds. Or should I just pour out this stream of liquid for the earth to drink in silence, just as deep as when my father died? Pay him no honor, then creep off like someone dumping garbage and just throw away the pot with eyes averted. Friends, help me in this quandary, for we all have a common enemy at home. Don't hide your thoughts inside your hearts through fear. Something's fated, no one can escape it, whether he be free as he was born or someone else's slave. Please tell me, have you thought of anything?
I reverence your father's tomb as if it were a sacred altar. Here as you ask, I'll tell you what I really feel.
Tell me then, since you reverence my father's grave.
You must say words which show you care for all your friends.
Who in this household can I call my friends?
First yourself, and all who hate Aigisthos.
So this should be a prayer for you.
You've realized yourself, and said it first.
Is there anyone else that I should add?
Do not forget Orestes, even though he is no longer in the house.
That is good. You are right to remind me.
Now, when you get to Agamemnon's murder...
What shall I say? Teach me, lead me, I must know.
Pray that some god or mortal man may come...
To judge them or to be the instrument of justice?
Simply say, to kill them in their turn.
Would the gods see this as a pious prayer?
How could they not? It's right to pay your enemies for what they've done to you.
Hermes, great herald of the gods above us and below, help me. Lord of the earth, I beg you, be my messenger, and take my prayers to the gods beneath the earth, the guardians of my father's house, and earth herself, she who gives birth to every living thing, and nurtures it, and takes her offspring back again. Now as I pour out this libation to the dead, I say this, calling on my father. Pity me and your dear son Orestes. Bring the light back to this house. For as it is, we wander just as if we had been sold. And in exchange for us, our mother took a man, Aigisthos, who was with her when she murdered you. I live like a slave. Orestes is in exile and bereft of all his property, while they rejoice exultantly at all your sufferings. Father, I pray to you that by some turn of fate Orestes may come here. I charge you, hear me. for myself. Make me a better woman than my mother. Self-controlled and reverent in everything I do. These are my prayers for us. But for our enemies, I say that you must be avenged. The murderers must die in just reprisal for their deeds. This evil thought I place among my prayers for good. I have pronounced this curse on them alone. For us, send up your blessings. With the aid of all the gods and Mother Earth, may justice bring us victory. That was my prayer. To follow it, I will pour out these offerings. Custom demands that you must help to make their power bloom by crying out in lamentation. Sing a song of victory for the dead.
Let out a tear, it drops, it dies, just like the king it shed for, as it falls upon this mount, defender of good and enemy of evil. As these offerings are poured, may all pollution be removed. Hear me, great majesty. Hear me, great king. Although your senses are now dimmed.
A man must come and liberate this house. A strong man with a spear. The bow bent back and ready in his hands. A war god, brandishing his javelins and fighting hand to hand, and sword with sword.
My father has his offerings. They've soaked into the earth. But now share something new with me.
What is it? My heart leaps with fear.
I see a lock of hair that someone's cut and laid upon the grave.
Who could it be? What man or girl would do that?
Easy. Anyone could guess.
You must teach me, even though I'm older and you're young.
No one else but me could have cut off this lock.
Yes, those who should be mourning for him are all enemies.
Still, it's here. And if you look, it's very like...
What kind of hair? That's what I want to know.
It has a close resemblance to my own.
Would it be a secret gift from Orestes?
It does look very like his hair.
How would he dare to come here?
He hasn't. He's just sent a cut-off lock in homage to his father.
We have then no less cause to weep. If this means he will never set foot in this land again.
Now a wave of bitter bile has surged up to my heart, and it's as if a dart had pierced right through me. From my thirsty eyes, teardrops pour down like winter floods against my will when I look at this lock of hair. How could I think that any ordinary citizen could be the owner of such tresses? Nor would she, the murderess, have ever dared to offer it. My so-called mother, who does not deserve the name because she's filled her heart with godless hatred for her children. Then, how can I simply welcome it and be sure this is a token from the dearest of all men to me, Orestes? I'm formed upon by hope. Oh, if only it had sense and voice just like a messenger, then I would not be so distracted and confused. It could tell me plainly whether I should spit away the hair, if it has come from enemies of ours, or if it is a kindred lock, and so could grieve with me, a true adornment for this grave, an honor given to my father. We call upon the gods who know that great waves toss us all around like men at sea. But when we're fated to survive, a small seed often grows into a great tree root. Here is a second sign, some footprints, look. They match each other and are similar in shape to mine. These are the outlines of 2 pairs of feet, those of the man himself and of some friend. And as I measure them, the heels, the outlines of the tendons, all are in proportion to the prints I made. Oh, this is anguish, and my senses are destroyed.
Tell the gods your prayers have been fulfilled. Now you can pray your future will be prosperous as well.
What is it that I've now been given by the gods?
You see at last a sight you have long desired.
Whom do you think I've prayed for?
I know you have often missed Orestes.
But how have I an answer to my prayer?
I am he. You need not search for any closer relative than me.
Stranger, is this some trap you are casting round me?
If I did that, I would be weaving snares to catch myself.
Do you just want to mock me in my misery?
I would be mocking my own misery if I mocked yours.
So I must really call you by his name.
You were so slow to realize, now you see me in the flesh. For when you saw this offering of hair, and when you followed in my footsteps like a hunter, your heart flew like a bird, as if Orestes was before your eyes. Look, place that lock of hair where it was cut. It is your brother's hair, and much resembles yours. Now, see this piece of weaving done by your own hands. Here are the strokes of your own needle. This is your design, wild animals. No, do not go mad with joy, for I am well aware our so-called family are bitter enemies to us.
My dearest darling of your father's house, beloved hope, seed of salvation, trust in your strength, you will regain your father's house. Eye of delight, you have 4 portions of my love, for I must turn to you in place of my dead father. And all my mother love is turned to you because I hate her utterly. And then my sister love, for her who was so mercilessly slaughtered. All is yours. You are my faithful brother, bringing glory back into my life. May strength be with us now, and justice with the third, the greatest god of all, Lord Zeus.
Zeus. Zeus, look down and witness this. You see the orphaned offspring of the eagle who has died. A fearful serpent's trapped him in its coils. They are bereft of father love and suffer pangs of hunger. They are not old enough to hunt food like their father and bring it back into the nest. That's how we are. Here you can see Orestes and Elektra, children who no longer have a father. Both of us in exile from our home. And yet our father sacrificed and paid great services to you. If you let his young children be destroyed, where will you find such rich and splendid gifts from other hands? If you were to destroy the eagle's brood, you could not send back any sign of hope to mortal men. And if this tree of kingship withers up and dies, we will not be ministers at your altar on the festive days of sacrifice. So keep it safe. From such a little start you can raise up once more a great house, which all men now believe has fallen utterly.
Dear children, say this for your father's house, do not say more, let no one overhear. And just because he wants to talk, tell all you've said to those who now command us. How I want to see them die and plunged in oozing boiling pitch.
Apollo's great and mighty oracle will not forsake me. He ordered me to pass through all these dangers, shrieking out his prophecies. He told of violent frosty torments that would chill my heart if I did not pursue those who contrived my father's death in just the same way, meaning I must kill them in return. He said that I would pay with my own life. First would suffer ghastly tortures. I would lose my heritage, and this would drive me mad and violent as a bull. There are, he told me, things which men can do, which will placate the anger of the dead. But there are also terrible diseases. creatures which invade the flesh with vicious teeth, plagues like the scurvy which destroy our natural tissue, leprosy which blossoms on the temples. Then Apollo spoke of other enemies. It would not matter whether I was still alive or in the underworld. The Furies would pursue me, springing from my father's blood. The long dark arrows of the gods below are sent by suppliants, fathers and grandfathers who died an unjust death and cry for vengeance. Madness, empty terrors in the night. All these attack a son who will not act. He is harassed and driven into exile by a lash of bronze. The coward son is not allowed to share the common bowl of wine, nor may he drink the pure fresh water which men use to make libation to the gods. His father's anger comes unseen to drive him back from altars. He cannot be welcomed in to take his rest under another's roof. He'll die at last, unloved, uncared for. He will shrivel up and end his life in pain. Should I not trust such oracles as these? And even if I don't, there still remains a deed that must be done. Here many needs fall into one. The gods command, my father's suffering, and also I am weighed down by my need for my inheritance. It is not right that citizens of Argos, noble-hearted men who gained eternal glory from the sack of Troy, should be the subjects of this pair of women. For his heart's a woman's. If it isn't, we'll soon see. Terrible dead father. What can I say or do up here to reach you in the dark place where you lie? The light may overcome the dark. So too, perhaps, a noble act of lamentation may bring some joy to you, great son of Atreus.
Dear son, the ravening jaws of flame cannot subdue a dead man's powers of thought. He will show his anger even after death. While others mourn, the killer is revealed. If we can raise up loud and strong the due lament for a dead father, it will hunt down his murderers.
Now, Father, hear in turn the sorrows which have made me weep. Here are your children standing at your grave to chant the song of lamentation. Exile and suppliant, this is our place of refuge. Is my life nothing else but suffering? Can we never conquer hardship?
God may still bring us to sing a sweeter song, if that is his desire. Now we are chanting dirges at a tomb. Soon a song of victory will welcome back the new mixed cup of wine to celebrate the king's return.
If only you had had died at Troy, my father, cut down by a warrior's spear, you would have been revered throughout your halls, held in high regard because your children flourish. Your grave would be a noble mound beyond the sea, no burden for your relatives to bear.
And welcome by your fellow warriors, who died with glory in the Trojan War. You would have been an honored leader of the dead, the servant only of the highest kings, the gods who rule the underworld. For while you lived, you were a king, and in your mighty house, your son held the power of life and death.
No! My father, you should not have died under the walls of Troy, and not be buried there beside the waters of Scamander with the other warriors. His murderers should now have met their share of death in just the way he did. A kind of death so terrible that far and wide men who know nothing of our suffering would hear about it.
What you are asking is as rare as gold or great good luck. A noble dream, and you are right, dream it. But look, your ceremony's a double lash. Its blows strike home. Our allies are hair below the earth. The ruler's hands are stained with hatred. You are gaining power.
This goes straight to his ears like a javelin. Zeus, send up vengeance, all too long delayed, for the reckless heart and the daring hand. Let me pay the debt I owe my parents.
May it only be my right to sing the blazing song of victory when he is speared and she has been destroyed. Why should I hide the thought which always flutters in my heart? Anger blows right through us. Long-felt bitter hatred.
When will Zeus and all the riches of his power bring down his hands upon them, smash their heads? Fulfill your pledges to this land. I ask for justice to reverse injustice. Hear me, earth, and hear me, powers below.
When drops of murdered blood fall to the earth, they call for yet more blood. That is the law. Havoc brings out the furies from the bodies of the dead to pile disaster on disaster.
Hear me, lords of the underworld. See us, mighty cursors of the dead. See the last survivors of the house of Aeschylus, helpless, cast out from our halls. O Zeus, where can we turn?
My heart leaps again as I hear this bitter lament. Before my hopes had vanished, I went black inside listening to your words. But now I see you strong again. Hope easily drives out my anguish. All will turn out well.
What shall we say to get through to him? Just tell of the anguish we have suffered. She can fawn on us if she wants, but it won't soften us. We are savage, just like wolves. We have our mother's spirit. It cannot be tamed.
I raised the lament for him and beat my breast just like an Asiatic wailing woman. You could see our hands. They never stopped. The blows went on wave upon wave, down and up, until my head resounded with the blows.
Oh, my cruel, all-daring mother. How did you dare to take him out and bury him? No citizen went with the king. No one was there to sorrow for him or cry lament for him. A cruel funeral.
Oh, you did humiliated him. Shall you not pay for my father's shame? The gods will help. My hands will help. When I have killed you, I can die.
Know this. He was mutilated. She did it when she buried him to make his fate unbearable for you. Now you've heard the outrages they did your father.
You tell him how my father died. I stood apart, humiliated, worthless, shut up in my bedroom like some savage dog. I needed to conceal my grief. I could not try to laugh. Instead, I swamped it in a flood of tears. Father, listen to this and carve it on your heart.
Yes, carve it. Let this story pierce your ears and come with gentle steps to soothe your heart. We've told you how things are, now burn to know how they will be. If you would win, you must not lose your strength.
Father, I beg you, help your children. Through my tears I ask this too.
We all echo them. Listen, come into the light. Help us against your enemies.
War strength will clash with war strength. Right with right.
O gods, fulfill our pleas. Bring justice.
I shiver as I hear them pray. The hour of destiny has waited long. It will come now that they plead for it.
Oh, suffering age within the race and bloody hideous disorder, strife about to ruin, burning rage and great unbearable disease.
The cure for this is linked to by inside the house and not by others from outside, but from its own through savage bloody strife.
But hear us, blessed powers beneath the earth. Answer this prayer by sending help. Be eager for the children's victory. Let them prevail.
Father, you did not die a kingly death. Give me the power I ask for in your house.
Father, I have this need of you. Let me escape from living as Aigisthos' slave.
If you do this, you will receive the banquets due to you from us. But if you don't, when men feast joyfully and burn an offering for those below, you won't receive your share.
And I will give you offerings when I inherit all that is my due. Libations on my wedding day from our ancestral store. This is the tomb which I will honor more than any other one.
O earth, release my father. Let him watch me fight.
O goddess of the underworld, grant us the beauty of victory.
Think of the bath in which she murdered you.
Think of the net in which they trapped you, Father.
They hunted you with fetters that no blacksmith made.
They planned to trap you in a cloak of shame.
Are you not moved by these reproaches?
Won't you raise up your head, my dearest Father?
Send justice up to be an ally for your children. Or else help us to bind them fast, the same as they did you. They beat you. Don't you want to throw them down in turn?
Hear one more cry from me. Look at your offspring as they nestle at this grave. Pity them both, the man and woman joined together by their grief. Do not abandon us. We are descendants of the house of Pelops. While we live, you live. Children preserve a hero's glory past his death, just like the corks that hold a net afloat and stop the meshes sinking out of reach. So hear us. All of this lament has been for you, and you'll be saved forever if you honor what we've said.
No one could blame you for these many words. You've given honor to a grave and to a fate that no one has ever mourned. But now, since you're resolved to act, you can proceed. You have already tested if the gods are with you.
I shall. But it will not deflect me from my course to ask why she sent these libations. What persuaded her to try too late to make up for irreparable suffering? This was a paltry act of honor for a king who's dead and hates her. I can't understand. Her gifts are so much smaller than a crime. You can pour out all that you have in recompense for bloodshed and your labor would be wasted. So I think. Please tell me why she did it, if you know.
I do know. I was there. She was terrified by dreams and roving horrors which attacked her in the night. That's why the godless woman sent these offerings.
Do you know her dream enough to tell it right?
She told us herself. She dreamt she gave birth to a snake.
Go on. It's the end of the story.
It nestled in its swaddling clothes just like a human child.
This newborn viper, did it want to eat?
She dreamt that she herself gave it her teat to suck.
Could a deadly thing like that not wound her breast?
It did. A clot of blood poured out into the milk.
This is no empty vision.
Screaming in terror, she woke up. At once we lit the torches all around the house to chase away the darkness of the night and soothe our mistress. Then she sent these offerings, hoping to find a cure that would cut through her torments.
But I pray now to earth and to my father's grave, that this dream may be fulfilled for me. For if this snake emerged from that same place as I, and then was wrapped in swaddling clothes, and put its fangs around the breast that nurtured me, and made a clot of blood mixed with the milk of life, so that she cried aloud in fright and pain, then she, because she nurtured such a terrifying portent, must die by violence. I become the snake and kill her. That's what this dream says.
I choose you as my dream interpreter. May you be right. Now tell your friends what they must do. For some this means what not to do.
My plan is simple. Elektra is to go inside the house. I charge you to keep secret all our plans. So they who killed a noble man by treachery shall fall by treachery in turn, and die in that same net. So has Loxias ordained, the Lord Apollo, prophet who has never lied. I shall disguise myself in traveling clothes and go with this man here right to the outer gates. He's Pylades, by birth a friend and ally of our house. We'll both assume a dialect, Parnassian, and talk the way they do in Focus. It's possible the doorkeepers won't welcome us with open hearts, because the gods have filled the house with evil fortune. Then we'll stay, so that anyone who walks along beside the palace will be quite amazed and say, why does Aigisthos not receive the suppliant at once, if he is somewhere in the city and has been informed? Should I cross the threshold of the outer gates and find him sitting on my father's throne? Or if he comes down close to speak to me, you may be sure he'll meet me man to man. Before he says, where's the stranger from, he'll be a corpse, impaled upon my sword so fast you'll hardly see. And so the fury of our house, who is not starved of deaths, will drain the third and final cup of undiluted blood. And you must supervise with care all that goes on inside the house, so that this plan of ours may hold together. While you must watch your words almost religiously. Be silent when need be. Speak only what will help our cause. All else I call on Agamemnon here to oversee. Guide me. Let my sword win the contest.
The earth breeds terrifying beast. In her embrace, the sea encompasses a multitude of monsters that can kill a man. Up in the sky are comets, meteors like flying torches which descend to harm us. Then think of the hurricane, the anger of the storm wind.
But who can find words to speak of the ever-daring mind of man, or woman's all-destructive love? When loveless passion overcomes the female, it destroys the unions of animals, the marriages of men and women.
So listen, if your thoughts do not fly too high, learn from Althea, who destroyed her child. She lit a bloody torch the day he came out crying from his mother's womb. It followed him throughout his life. When it blew out, he died.
There is another one to hate in the old tales. A blood-stained girl. She killed her father for her city's enemies, bribed by a necklace wrought of gold, the gift of Minos, king of Crete. Her father Nisos did not know. The bitch cut off the lock of hair that gave him everlasting life as he lay sleeping. Death has him now.
Since we've remembered cruelties which cannot be assuaged, should we not speak about the bitter marriage here that's hateful to the house? The evil plans which took shape in this woman's heart against a warrior, a man of glory whom his enemies had all too much good cause to hate? May the heart not be warmed by civil strife. May woman's strength not turn to outrage.
Of all the crimes in legend, the Lemnian is the worst, most hated and most feared. The name of Lemnos is a proverb for the ultimate in horror. Polluted by the hatred of the gods, their race is cast out by mankind. No one helps those the gods reject. Am I not right to tell these stories?
The sword strikes near the lungs. It's sharp. It goes straight through. Right's driving it. They trampled justice to the ground. They broke with everything that's good and went against the majesty of Zeus. The anvil of justice is planted in the ground. Destiny's the blacksmith. She forges the sword. Glorious vengeance has planned both long and well, and now she brings back to this house a child to make return for all the bloodstains of the past.
Hey, slave. You not hear me knocking on the courtyard door? Is anyone at home? Slave, I'm calling you a second time. This is my third demand for someone to come from this house, if Aigisthos allows it to welcome travellers.
All right, I can hear you. Who's the stranger? Where's he from?
Announce me to the masters of the household. Say I have come to see them and I bring some news. Be quick, though, since the night's dark chariot is speeding on, and it's a time when travellers need to find a friendly house where they can drop anchor and feel safe. Someone should come who has authority, a woman who is mistress, or better still, perhaps, a man. For reticence in conversation can make one's words obscure and hard to understand. A man can speak with confidence before another man and will convey quite clearly what he means.
Strangers, you can tell me what you need. For here we have all that you would expect in such a house as this. Warm baths, soft beds to charm away your aches and pains, and people round you who will do no harm. But if you want to transact business of importance, then that is the work of men, and I must report it to them.
I'm a Dorlean. I come from Phocus. This is all the luggage that I own, and I was on my way to this place, Argos, which I've reached at last. I met a man I did not know, and he did not know me. But when he'd asked my destination and had told me his, I learned his name, Strophius the Phocian. Here is what he said. My friend, since you're bound for Argos anyway, whatever else you do, remember this. Tell his parents that Orestes is dead. Please don't forget. I don't know if his relatives will want to bring him home, or if they would prefer to have him buried here, an alien as our guest for all eternity. We mourned him well, and now his ashes wait, surrounded by the bronze sides of an urn. bring their instructions back to me. I said all that I heard. But I don't know if you're the people I should really say this to. I think his father should be told.
How utterly we are besieged. Oh, curse upon this house, so hard to wrestle with. So many things attract your eye, even those we tried to place out of your way. You bring us down with deadly arrow shots. You strip me of my relatives, and I have nothing left. Orestes now. He was no fool. He kept his feet far distant from this deadly swamp. But now the hope is gone, which was the cure for those foul furies' orgy in this house. Mark down that has betrayed us.
When a host is prosperous like you, I would have liked to introduce myself by giving joyful news and earn your hospitality. A friendly guest likes nothing more than to deserve his entertainment. But I felt it would be almost impious if I did not inform Orestes' relatives when I had pledged to do so and was welcomed here.
You will not be received less worthily than you deserve. Nor are you any less this house's friend. This news would have come anyway. It's all the same. But now 'tis the time when those who've spent all day upon the road should be supplied with what they need. Take him to the apartment for male visitors, together with his fellow merchant here, and there let them receive whatever we can give. I shall report this news to those in power. We do not lack for friends. We will take their advice about this new disaster.
Now, dear friends, servants of this house, when will we show that our lips have the power to help Orestes' cause?
O sacred earth, sacred mound that now lies piled upon the body of our king, the lord of ships, hear us now, help us now. This is the time. Now sly persuasion must come down to help us, and Hermes, ruler of the dark, must guide them as they draw their swords and fight.
I think the stranger's up to something. Look, he's Orestes' nurse, in tears. Kalisa, why are you leaving the house? Where are you going? Grief goes weeping like a fellow traveller you do not want.
That woman, our mistress, has ordered me to fetch Aigisthos as fast as possible, to see the strangers so he may learn this news more clearly. Man from man. In front of us, her eyes were sad and full of grief. But it was all a sham to hide her joy at news which is so good for her, but utterly disastrous for this house, if what the stranger said so clearly is not false. Aigisthos will be overjoyed the moment he is told. But as for me, all the old miseries piled one upon another, here in the house of Atreus, they're so hard to bear, my heart is nearly broken. Never have I suffered a grief like this. I managed to put up with all the other things, but... Dear Orestes, I wore myself out for him. His mother gave him to me and I brought him up. He used to cry out in the night and get me out of bed. And I did so much work for him. Now gone for nothing. Babies are just like animals. They never think, and all the same you've got to bring them up. That's how it is. When he's in swaddling clothes, a baby doesn't tell you if he's hungry, thirsty, or in need of making water. Boys' young bladders have a will of their own. I had to guess when that was, and I know I often got it wrong, which meant I had to wash his clothes, since I was nurse and laundry woman too. I was skilled at both these jobs. That's why Orestes' father gave me him to mind. Now I'm miserable. I've been told that he is dead. And I must go to see a man who has defiled this house and will be glad to learn the news.
How did she say he should equip himself?
What do you mean? Say that again so I may understand.
Is he to bring his bodyguard or come alone?
She says he should bring armed men to attend him.
Don't tell our hated master that. Tell him to come as soon as he can. And say it cheerfully, so he will listen without taking fright. The messenger can make a bent word straight.
Are you pleased with what I've told you?
Just suppose that Zeus might free us from our misery.
But how? Our only hope, Orestes, is now dead.
Not yet. He would be a poor prophet who said that.
What do you mean? Do you know something different?
Take your message. Do what you've been told. This is the gods' concern and they will handle it.
Well, I will go and I will do what you have asked. May the gods grant it turn out for the best.
Now as I ask you, Zeus, Father of the gods, grant success to those who strive for it, the rightful owners of this house. All I have said is just. Zeus, fulfill my words.
Now he is in the house. Make him conquer your enemies. He will repay you willingly, twice over, 3 times over when he is raised to greatness.
Know this. The orphaned colt of one who was once dear to you is harnessed to a chariot of pain. He has begun the race. Grant he not lose his pace. Let him finish the course.
You household gods who live near to our secret store of wealth, be on our side. Reach a new verdict. Dispel the bloodshed of the past. May the old massacres no more give birth within this house.
Great God Apollo, Lord of a vast and sacred place, grant that the house may raise its head, and make the light of freedom come clear for its eyes to see. Release from the veils of darkness. Hermes may justly lend his hand, the God who is most apt to bring a favorable outcome. His eyes can penetrate the night. He can cast darkness on our side, and he is never seen. Then we shall sing at last, loud and clear, the noble song of a house set free. For this city all is well. That will be our glory as alone. Disaster will be far from those we love.
But you, when the moment comes, take courage. If she cries child, shout back, truly I am my father's child. Go through with it. You may kill her and never suffer blame.
Remember that your deed is the desire both of your loved ones now beneath the earth and of the gods above. Be brave as Perseus. Give bloody murder to the dreaded Gorgon of this house. And when you see the man who is the cause of all our grief, destroy him.
I come, not of my own accord, but summoned by a messenger. I understand that certain strangers have arrived, and bring some news. That gives me no delight. Orestes dead. This would be a blood-stained burden for the house to bear, already wounded as it is, poisoned by bitter murders long ago. How can I think it is a living truth? Are these perhaps just fearful women's words, which leap high in the air, then die in vain? What can you tell of this to clear my mind?
We've heard. But you must go inside and find out from the strangers. It's nowhere near as good to let a woman tell you as to hear yourself
from man to man.
I want to see this messenger and question him carefully, to learn if he was there and saw Orestes die, or just reports a rumor he has heard. My mind has eyes. It cannot be deceived.
Zeus, what shall I say? How should I call upon you? I wish him well, but how can my words be enough to bring him hell?
Now axes will strike savage, bloody blows, and they will either utterly destroy the house of Agamemnon for eternity, or else the sun will kindle fire and light and free us, rule his city and inherit all the riches of his ancestors. Such is the contest godlike Orestes joins. One against two. His father's only champion. May he What's the fate of the house?
Let us stand back now this affair is coming to an end, so we may seem not to have played a part in causing evil things. The battle's finished now.
Cry out in sorrow for our stricken lord. Cry sorrow yet again. Aigisthos is no more. But open up as fast as you can. Undo the bars upon the women's doors. It needs a younger man, and not to help. The deed is done already. What can I do? Hey! I'm shouting for the dead. I'm babbling nonsense while they sleep. Where's Klytaimestra? What's she doing? Her neck is right upon the chopping block with justice poised to strike.
What is it? Why the shouting around the house?
I tell you that he lives and he will kill the dead.
I read your riddle from my dream. We die by treachery, just as we killed. Get me an axe at once. Let's see if we are finished or still have a chance. This terrible affair's gone that far.
It's you I'm looking for. He's had enough.
Oh God, you're dead. My darling, strong Aigisthos.
You love the man? Then you shall lie together in the grave. He's dead, and you will never be unfaithful to him.
Stop! My son! Show all, my child! Before this breast, at which you often drowsily sucked with your lips the milk that gave you life.
Pylades, what shall I do? Could I not fear to kill my mother?
Would you destroy the standing of Apollo's oracles for all the rest of time, and of his solemn oath? Count all men hateful to you rather than the gods.
I judge that you have won, and your advice is good. Follow me. I mean to kill you at Aigisthos' side. In life you thought him greater than my father. Now sleep with him in death. You chose this man, and hated him you ought to love.
I brought you up and let me grow old with you.
You killed my father, and you want to share my house?
Fate had a certain share in that, my son.
Well, then it's fate that brings death to you now.
Do you not fear the furies of a mother?
No. You gave me birth, but set me out to suffer
Not
pain.
so! I sent you out to live with friends.
I was a free man's son, sold like a slave.
Then where's the price I got for you?
I'm ashamed to name it clearly. You would be disgraced.
Your father's straight as well. Why don't you mention that?
Don't blame the man. He labored. You just sat at home.
It hurts a woman not to have a man, my child.
The man's hard work supports the women who remain at home.
I see, my son. You mean to kill your mother.
It's you who killed yourself, not I.
Watch out. Beware your mother's angry, hounding furies.
And how shall I escape my father's furies if I do not do this deed?
It seems as if I am weeping Eustace, while still alive before my tomb.
Yes. Now my father's fate was death towards you.
Oh, God. This is the snake I bore and nurtured at my breast.
How true a prophet was that fearful dream. You killed and it was wrong. Now suffer wrong.
I even mourn for these two and their fate. But now that our poor Orestes sets a coping stone upon these many streams of blood, we just want this. May he, the eye of the house, not fall and be destroyed.
Justice came, the Trojans suffered heavy punishment. Orestes came to the house of Agamemnon, like a lion or a god of war. The exile guided by the god of Delphi, and protected by the wisdom of the gods, as one. Cry out in joy, our master's house is freed from all its suffering, the wasting of its riches by those murderers, a miserable fate. He came, his duty was a secret war and stealthy punishment, and the daughter of Zeus, the faithful one, guided him in battle. We call her justice, when we aim her right, breathing destructive anger on her enemies. Great Apollo of Ceos, the ruler of the navel of the earth, he gave her victory with qualities no guile. Justice was wounded here in time long past, but she has come back now. May the will of the gods prevail. May I not serve the wicked. It is right to worship the lords of heaven. The light is here to see, and a vast joke is lifted from these halls. All hearts rise up, for to shine your late put on the brow. And now great time, fulfiller of all things, will pass between our entrance doors, when all the stain has vanished from the heart, and we have purified him, driven all disaster out. Our fortune's found, it will be fair of days, and welcome back the rightful Lord into his house.
Look, here are the tyrants of our land. They killed my father and they sacked this house. Then they seemed very grand, both seated on their thrones. And they are lovers even now, as you can tell. They've died together, faithful to their vows. For they once took an oath to kill my wretched father and die together. It's turned out all right. They've kept their pledge. Now you observers of these sad events, just look at this. The horrible device with which they bound my wretched father, shackled him both hand and foot. Stretch it out, stand round in a circle. Show this thing with which they overcame a man, so that the father of us all, the son who looks down on all this, may view the monstrous actions of my mother. Come when I am brought to trial and be my witness that it was with justice that I pursued this murder of my mother. I don't count Aigisthos' death. He met the usual fate of all adulterers. who plotted this foul deed against the very man whose children she had carried once inside her womb. Then she was glad to bear us as a burden. Now we are her deadly enemies, as you can see. What do you think? If she had been a sea snake or a viper, she could make men's flesh dissolve without a bite, so great her daring and the power of her evil mind. What shall I call her and be right? She's like a huntsman's net across a shroud, perhaps a bather's wrap. You surely could well say a trap, a net, a cloth that hems men in. She's the sort of lure a thief might use to trap a traveller and rob him of his silver. That's the way to make a living. He would warm his heart by catching many victims in a trap like this. May such a woman never come to share my house. Far better dead, struck childless by the gods.
Miserable deed. It is a hateful death you have given them, and pain will blossom for the living too.
Did she do it or not? This robe bears witness for me. How she stained Aigisthos' sword with gore. The oozing stain of blood conspires with time, and they've defeated every dye put on the finely woven cloth. Now I can praise him. Now I am here to mourn him properly. As I speak, before this web in which my father died. I grieve for what I've done. The suffering in all our family. I've won. But my victory is tainted, and no one would envy me.
No mortal ever lives his life right through, free both from honor and from harm. There has been pain already, more will come.
You must know now. I do not know how this will end. I'm like a charioteer who's forced to drive outside the course. I'm beaten and cannot control my senses. The terror comes, prepared to sing its song of hate and force my heart to join the dance. While I still have my sanity, I want to tell my friends, I killed my mother not without some justice. She was polluted by my father's death and hated by the gods. And as the drug which gave me courage for this deed, I named to you Apollo, seer of Delphi. For he prophesied that if I did this, I would be beyond the charge of wickedness. But if I let it go, I will not speak the penalty. No one's bow could hit the mark of such an agony. That's why you see me now prepared. With this young olive branch and crown of flowers, I shall approach the navel of the earth, the shrine, Apollo's sacred place, and that bright blaze of fire that we are told is everlasting. Then I will escape this stain of kindred blood. For Loxias instructed me that I should turn to no other hearth than his. And now I bid all Argives, in time to come, remember how these evil things were done, and testify for me to Menelaus if he should return. I am a wanderer, an exile banished from my native land. Living or dead, I leave behind me nothing else but this appeal to you.
No, you have done well. Never let your mouth be forced to speak unworthy words. Not let evil touch your lips. You liberated our whole city-state of Argos when you cut with ease the heads off those who said.
Ah! them. They drive me from this place. I cannot stay.
May you find good fortune. May the God look kindly on you and protect you. Grant you happiness.